Hi, it's Keith Struthers here, and I'd like to share with you some ideas about the relationship between architecture and nature. And we can think first in terms of a polarity. Some buildings really blend into nature. You can think of them as having trees around them, creepers up the sides, maybe a planted roof. They might even be made out of raw earth. They'll have soft forms and they blend completely into their natural context. And on the opposite side, you find buildings that are stark, they're clean, they have hard surfaces around them, hard landscaping, they might be crystalline in form. And between these two, we can find the full spectrum of architecture really, those that completely blend in and those that stand out in contrast. And the question is, why is this important? Or why is our relationship to nature important? Think about it in this way. How do your buildings affect nature? And you can think of it in terms of sustainability. What materials do we use? What energy do we use to light the building, to heat it, to cool it? What kind of environment do we create in it through all the consumption that we require? And then on the opposite side, you can think, how does nature affect our buildings? And I'm not only talking about climate responsiveness of sun angles and the weather and the rain. I'm also talking about when you position a building in a natural context, does the language of the building speak a language that is some way similar to that of the nature around it? And you can ask yourself, why is this important? And it's clear that we have a very strong interdependent relationship with nature. For example, we breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen, and plants do the opposite. We eat plants, and if we eat animal products, they have eaten plants. So our relationship to the planet is completely connected. If the planet dies, we die. If the planet thrives, we thrive. So the question is, insofar as we have this very strong connection to the planet, to the earth, to nature, is it possible that we can design as nature designs? And by that, I don't mean that we copy nature's form, but can our design methodology embody some of the principles that are implicit in the way that nature creates? And I can think of 5 offhand. So imagine you go into an indigenous context where you see plants everywhere. One of the first things that will strike you is that everything fits together. There's nothing abnormal about it. You look at one plant and it fits in with the others in terms of its size, in terms of its texture, color, nuance, how it's formed, how it grows, the angle it grows, and where it's positioned on the land. Everything is concordant, as it were. So there's an implicit harmony in how nature creates. And the other side of it is that when you look more closely, you'll see a wide diversity in nature. One plant will be different to the next, different to the next. It won't be a monoculture of plants or as we have, monoculture of buildings. There's a massive diversity in nature and specificity of the different plants. The other aspect of it is that it's always mutually supportive. In other words, no one plant or one animal in the bigger picture takes more from nature than is right for it in terms of maintaining the whole. And another quality is life-giving. Think of a buffalo, for example. It eats grass, and on top of the buffalo is maybe a tick bird eating the ticks off the buffalo. And if the buffalo was eaten by a lion, it would then be further nourished. It would provide further nourishment for hyenas and jackals and vultures and insects. It eats grass, it fertilizes the grass. So everything about nature, everything about the animals in nature and all that grows in nature is life-supporting, life-giving. There's nothing that takes for its own and doesn't give back. There's always this mutual relationship. And then the other aspect of it is that you can think that nature functions in rhythmic cycles. There's the seasons from winter to summer. There's the night and the day. There's the relationship to the moon and the planets with the tides of the ocean and how the sap in the plants rises and falls. So we really have these 5 principles: the implicit harmony, the wide diversity, it's mutually supportive, it's life-giving, and it functions in rhythmic cycles. So the question is, when you look at your own architecture and you look at it in terms of how does your architecture relate to nature and how does nature relate to your architecture, can you think of it in terms of these 5 principles, just to get a deeper insight? We have really interesting discussions and workshops on the first Tuesday of every month, open to those who have done our courses. So please feel free and welcome to join us. Thanks very much.